It's been a long one. We're sitting here Monday evening after calling Liverpool 2 days, well, 3 days actually, of competitive Flush of Blood tournaments, where we casted on Saturday and Sunday. How are you guys feeling? Are you feeling up-tempo? Are you feeling energized?
I feel it's going to be a grower.
Okay.
I feel like we're going to grow into the energy.
Yeah. It's certainly going to show how tired we are, but hopefully we'll grow into some real energy throughout this. I'm listening to the sound of my voice, and I'm already like, I've heard myself speak too much. You guys could probably
I agree.
on that very strongly.
No, we very tired.
For some reason, I decided that once I got we worked until quite late yesterday evening, casting the final of the Calling Liverpool, which was an incredible match. We might come back and touch on that a bit later. But then we had a 2-hour drive back from Liverpool to Nottingham, and then I decided to go out to the Super Bowl and watch half of the Super Bowl. So that was fun too.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it though. I love American football.
Yeah.
Don't know if I've mentioned that before.
You have multiple times, but
the first Super Bowl that I've missed.
Is it?
Yeah. Since
I didn't realize you were that old.
No. Since I started watching, I think back in 20. Oh, blimey! Must have been. I spent 7 years ago. Just went home and Faye I had to borrow because everyone was going, and I had to borrow a sack barracks. I was like, oh my god, my car is an 11-minute walk away, and I've got all these Metal Fab tokens and boxes, which was a horrible nightmare to drag all that to the venue. Luckily, a little bit lighter, but I was like, I am not carrying this. So sack barrow, all kindly provided by Living Realms, all the way to the car, walk all the way back to the venue with the empty sack barrow, then quickly come and find you guys who are having the staff meal. And then by the time that was done,
I wasn't there.
No,
you decided to go and get a train a little bit earlier.
I didn't decide so, and I didn't have it. It was either that or sleep on the streets.
Streets of Liverpool.
Which I wouldn't recommend. So
I was home for midnight, and on the way home, Faye said, "I didn't want to tell you this, but I had a horrible rotten fever throughout the weekend."
Oh God!
And,
she kept it from you so that you wouldn't stress.
Yes, she did, but. So I was like, I'm going home. My daughter's clearly going to be out of bed, and I just want to be around. And so I missed the Super Bowl, but I thought, whatever. It's 49ers.
Absolutely, family first, dude.
49ers and Chiefs. Who cares? I didn't really care.
Everyone wanted both of them to lose, apart from fans of either team. You touched on something there, Hamish. You said you had plenty of Fab Metal tokens with you over the weekend.
I did.
And from what I understand, our partners at Thistle Tavern and your business with Fab Metal tokens did an absolute barnstorming business over the weekend. It was so good to see people thriving.
Yeah, it was a good opportunity for everyone that lived in Europe to come on over and grab some of these awesome metal tokens while they were there to save on the postage. So that went really well. Everyone loves the Go Again Dominate token and the Resource token, as it shows. The Dishonor tokens are all gone, so is the War and Peace. I've got none of them left. I don't know if I'm actually going to get any more of them left. The Rune Box is officially gone. And just genuinely really happy to see people having tokens, and it was really cool. As you were walking around watching the games, that these resource tokens, man, I mean, they're just top notch, aren't they? The big one, the small one,
they get everywhere.
Yeah. So very happy with that.
And I spoke to Andrew at Thistle Tavern, and that store was busy all weekend. It was so good to see people trading, buying, selling cards, and especially with such a new set, everyone was trying to get their new cards ready for different side events.
he said it was the best, good chaos in terms of just like everyone's jumping in. And I suppose as well, with it being a brand new set and everyone wants to get ready for the battle harden.
There was a lot of hype.
It was like everyone, the brute cards were just on full demand because I think a lot of people wanted to jump on KO. Or even Victor. Just everyone just wants these majestic cards, and they're hard to, getting them. Getting it. Those expansion slots from the set are quite tricky. But we'll dive into that later on. I think it's time for a beer, then Wheel of Time, bit of home news, and then we'll blast some.
Yeah, I think we've got a lot.
You're taking my job from me, Hamish. I love it. You can keep it.
All right, beer time.
The beer first.
Hamish, what are you drinking?
Oh, thank you, Simon. Well, I've got Menabrie. Is that it? Is that how you pronounce it? Menabrie?
Men of Brie.
Men of Brie. Yeah.
It looks really interesting.
Menabria.
A Menabria.
I don't know. I'm making it up as I go along.
Oh, well. It's a blonde premium lager. What about you, Simon?
Men of Brie sounds like something from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm having a bottle of Men of Brie. What about you, Big Bid and Small Tash, Simon?
Oh
no, your Tash
right.
said.
God, if this is small, mine's tiny. So.
Oh, that's what she said. What about...
I've got a Gypsy Hill Brewery.
What does that make yours, Hamish?
Non-existent.
A grower, not a shower. I've got a Gypsy Hill Brewery deco.
It doesn't grow and it doesn't show. That's what
it's a Noah. It's a nice deco artwork on the can, and it's a West Coast IPA at 5%. I'm looking forward to trying it. Actually, it's been in the fridge for a little while.
Amazing, and this nickname is sticking really well. Stick on trip.
Yeah, well, I thought to honor our friend Hamish, he had a bit of a confusing conversation with the waiter, the restaurant we went to on Friday night when he was trying to order a beer. And he said we only had Asahi, and he said, "What did you call me?" But actually, what we got here is just an alcoholic Peroni, which we found out is made in the same factory as Asahi, didn't we, Hamish?
Is it a lager?
Is it a lager?
Hamish had never heard of Asahi before, so it was an education in Japanese food and drink.
Yeah,
I love
it was Korean, but Korean food. But yeah, it was basically
Simon,
Japanese ramen for the most part.
No, it wasn't. It was Korean ramen.
All right, sure.
Yeah, well, I believe Trip because he picked the restaurant.
I did not. Yeah, I think so.
The other beer we had was a Japanese beer, so
it wasn't. There you go.
Cheers, guys. There you go. Cheers, everyone. Chinkity chink chink chonk. And let's get on with the home news. Home news. Home news.
Did you actually clap? You didn't clap that time.
Yeah,
no, he went silent.
No, I did.
Yeah, I didn't hear the clap.
Okay, all right, sure. Believe you.
I bloody clapped. Don't you?
You're gonna add the claps in post? Is that what you're gonna do?
I've got to go and actually just make audio recordings of claps and then edit it in. I did clap. Right. So, home news. We've been to Liverpool, so I don't... Oh, I've got something for you.
Okay.
Nothing too amazing. Just a little bit of a 23andMe update.
Gosh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot
yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Hamish selling his DNA to the...
Nothing big, but just small updates. They've received it.
Oh, okay.
That's it. It took 2 to 4 weeks.
They've not tried to process it.
No, not
Aren't
yet.
we pretty convinced that you contaminated this thing quite badly?
Yeah, I told you.
Not going to get a response.
It's gonna come back saying I've got the chromosomes of a carpet, but that is my that is my home news currently. I haven't got anything more wiggity whack wild. Well, I do, and I told you a few of you guys at Liverpool, and it's not podcast appropriate, so we'll leave it there. What about you, Simon?
All right. So wait, is this? It was podcast appropriate when it was me, but not for you. Is that the?
No, I told you guys. It's my...
So my goal for the weekend was to do a shout out to my kids on the stream, and they were watching when I did it on Saturday morning, and they've just had the biggest smile on their face all weekend. So having their daddy say hello to them on what they think is real TV has been brilliant.
That's really weird that you said that. It's really weird that you said daddy. That's all I thought.
Oh, that's what they call me.
Oh, right. They're not old enough. I see. Because Logan's 14 and he calls me dad.
Oh,
Freya now just calls me dad. So the daddy days are done.
The daddy days are done. And my daughter passed her silver level figure skating, ice skating.
That's really cool.
Over the weekend as well. Yeah.
Ah.
So she moves up to gold.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there platinum?
Oh no, they finish at gold,
Oh.
which is weird. And so then they either go into some sort of academy system if they're good enough, or they just do it for fun.
Ah, there you go. What about you, Stick on Trip?
I was at the Calling Liverpool. It was pretty busy. Apart from that, I was at work, so I went straight from work to Calling Liverpool, which was quite a busy week. I've not really done anything else. I can't even think if I had a brunch recently. I definitely did, but I don't know how recent it was. Did I tell you?
Back at work today?
Yeah, working from home.
Same here.
I was saying to Hamish, I had a meeting at 9:30 in the morning, which was a bit of a wake up call. It was an hour and a half as well. So, well, I was in for an hour and a half. So that was fun. But yeah, I mean, my main thing has been the Calling Liverpool, which is the same for you two guys. Basically, is taking up most of our lives.
Okay.
I guess we can kind of just segue straight into that, really.
Can I ask you a question? The wheel of time. Yes.
Do the wheel first.
Go on, Trip. What is it?
If you are a patron of Push the Point, not only do you get early access to some of our videos, you would have got early access to the Prism video that will have gone out by now, 2 days ago, in fact, with Rob Catton. And not only do you get early access to those videos, you also get 6 packs of the set at the moment is bright lights. We've now moved on to bright lights, so you don't have to do anything. If you're a patron, you get put onto the wheel. We spin the wheel every episode, and whoever it lands on, if you've not won before, you get to take those 6 packs. Well, Sean will post them to you. So we did do the wheel. Can I get a little drum roll, please? And the winner is Jason Kelly, who is actually quite a new patron. We've had I guess we should say, actually, huge thank you to, we've had a lot of new patrons recently. It's been really nice to see everybody joining. And there's probably a good reason for that, Hamish, right? Because they get a couple of other benefits, don't they, for being a patron of Push the Point?
Absolutely. If you're a patron, you get 10% off Thistle Tavern, a Scottish shingle sheller over in the UK. He's been on fire at the Calling Liverpool. He's got pretty much loads of goods and everyone jumped onto the patrons because of this 10% off, I think, as well. It was a real good opportune moment. So
savvy business
for £3, and if you're going to make a large order, you're automatically going to just save money like that from that £3 you're giving over to us. Also, we have Metal Fab Tokens that gets from Brandon. He sends over loads of goods over to the UK, so I can get it over to the UK and the EU at Royal Mail prices. And I'll give you a heads up when we get new stuff in, so you can order it before I tell the public it's here. Good time to be a patron.
Yeah.
We are still working
things, didn't we?
We're still working on another partnership as well, but that might be a month or so in the making.
Yeah, but we're always looking for more. We're always looking to try and expand to give patrons just a load of amazing offers. But let's get on with the podcast. I've got a question for you guys.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Calling Liverpool. Give me 2 of your most standout moments that are personal for you for the Calling Liverpool. Start with you, Simon.
Personal moments.
Just something that you're like, amazing.
Have to give a shout out to Yorgos Samaras.
Yeah.
Because this man, it's such a comforting sight to see him at an event and just have a good old chat and see how he's getting on. But he listens to our podcast, just like we watch his stream often. And he came up to me. He's like, I've got something special for you. I listened to a recent podcast where you talked about making coffee. And he had brought me a little Greek coffee pot to make more coffee at home. And he brought it all the way from Greece. I was so touched and so happy that he'd thought of me and brought this with him all the way from Greece. So that was on Friday. That was an absolute standout moment. And it made me feel so humble about what we do with Push the Point and sometimes the relationship we have with players, with people in the game. It's just it's unbeatable.
Yeah.
Absolutely unbeatable.
And what about number 2? Give us another one.
The number 2 was being honoured to do the cosplay judging again, like being asked to do that by LSS. And obviously, the first time we did it at Birmingham, we were very new to it. This time, there were almost double the number of entries for the cosplay contest in Liverpool as there were in Birmingham, and the standard of cosplay has just gone through the roof. Like it was a phenomenal competition, and it was such an honor and a privilege to be part of that.
Awesome. What about you, Trip?
Yeah, I think that if I've got some standout games, but are we saving that for a little bit later? Do you want to?
No, I mean, just think. I mean, I've got. It's whatever you. It's something that made you just walk away with and go, "Yeah, that was awesome." If you think about calling Liverpool, that comes into your head.
I really want us the standout games. I think was the game we had with David Dyson on stream. One of the 4 Rhino from day 1 managed to get to day 2 in a very good position playing Rhino and Sealed, and he had just this incredible game on stream, just showing the power of the Intimidate and just David Dyson. He's a really good Sealed player. He always has been. I've noticed that draft and Sealed player. So it was really great to see him take like a Welcome to Wraith hero and kind of show those KOs how to do it. So that was a real highlight. I also really enjoyed the quarterfinal game. That was really exciting. We got to see Big Bop be played in the quarterfinal. And to good effect, though the player didn't actually end up winning the game, but it was just amazing to get to cast a Big Bop pop. I think the thing the cosplay competition is a given. I completely agree with every time we get the opportunity to do that is amazing. We've done it twice now. It's so incredibly difficult. The standard was so high. I was saying to these guys that it really comes down a lot to the like a kind of performance element at the end, because the quality of the cosplay was just so good. It was really hard to. I think I didn't really give anybody like lower than like a 7 for the actual like cosplay, like the actual design and accuracy element. And it was all about the performance. So that was a real highlight. But Simon's already said that. I gotta say,
is this a third?
The tokens, man.
The tokens.
What that is the most surreal experience of my life, is trying to go to the damn bathroom and calling Liverpool
being mobbed
in the 2 to 3 minutes we had between games, and one after another people be like, no, Dad, stop, because I had to leave the hall on Friday because I had a migraine. So people were getting the tokens from like Hamish and Simon, and then everyone was trying to get the full set, trying to get Sean as well. I was just surreal. I've never had that kind of experience with people like coming up to me and being like, "Give me a picture of your face, Dan." Really weird. Really
for Hamish
weird.
and I,
so
it
cool.
wasn't. For Hamish and I, it wasn't just a picture of our face, was it, Hamish? It was. It
was a
semi-lewd picture.
Yeah.
Wow, mine was so grotesque it got bloody banned from the event.
Yeah.
Because
banned from tournament play.
Wait. Shall I reveal them to the world?
If you're not,
well,
I'm sure on Twitter.
You can go on our Twitter and see them if you haven't already. I would recommend having a look through. Sean got them made. I thought they would be like a nice thing, but they just proved to be so popular with people. It was really touching, and people had some nice things to say every time. I was like, why do people want to? And people were like, no, you guys are good. You guys are great. It's really nice to have the push the point stuff. And I was like, okay, it's a little bit of a meme, but also people really just like them as well because they're really good quality. That's my one. Show them.
So for the audio listeners, Simon is picking up each of the tokens and showing it to the camera.
Show us the back as well, Simon, because the back.
That was the back being. I know the back being
so nice.
The artwork that we commissioned from Matthews as well. Yeah. It was just it just looks like the borders are thick. Yeah, we got a big black. Oh god, that's me. It's awful. I had to apologize to people as I hand them out and said I'm sorry, especially when it was a female I was giving it to. I'm like, I am sorry.
At least Simon covered his nips up in his.
I loved seeing Simon because it just popped up on the stream and it just
It popped up on
yeah,
Yorgos's game on stream.
Yorgos was playing them and it was just like you pointing. I was just like, these are actually pretty brilliant.
So what we hadn't really anticipated, and I don't know why we didn't anticipate this, but people who pay money to collect cards for a card game really wanted to collect the whole set of free cards to go with their card game.
The four cards, it was great. Lots of people struggling to get Sean because Sean was all 3 days. He was writing that blog you can read on the Fab TCG website. So he was
what an incredible job he did all weekend as well.
He looked knackered, mate, by the end as well. It's so tiring having to write so much and you have to be everywhere and find out everything, and it's like writing a newspaper really. But he did such a fantastic job. A real legend, Sean.
Absolutely.
But yeah, what about you, Hamish? What were your 2 highlights?
My first standout highlight, so in general, I know this is going to be counted as the third, but in general, just seeing everyone coming up and just saying hello, really, and just really like the podcast. I was just walking with the headphones.
Just that relationship with the listeners is incredible.
And they and weirdly enough, I can't remember, but one of the guys at this, like, they were just talking to me about Metal Fab Tokens. I was just like, just showing them some of the tokens and stuff. And then one of the guys just went, "You do know you're talking to Hamish?" And I was like, "Please, like." I was like, oh, this is so. I'm like, and he said, "Whoa, who are you?" And I was like, "Exactly, who am I? Please, I'm just want you to just get some tokens, but I do push the point." And they went, "No." I went, "Yeah." Anyway, so that was kind of. It's just this weird, humbling,
so weird, isn't it? Yeah.
ego-inducing experience that you go through. Right, my standout moments. I loved it that Johnny Chapman came up to me again. It was just this very silly thing of him just going, "I'm really happy that you guys are doing the stream because I just generally feel like you're like one of the biggest voices in the UK for this. So we're just happy that you guys are representing like flesh and blood's calling events in the UK." And I just couldn't think of anything better. And it just touched me a bit. And I was like, I mean, like, we still just meet up on a Monday every other week and just talk crap on our microphones. It just seems so weird that people have this connection. So that was very touching. But apart from ego boosting aside, seeing Erica's game.
Oh, the Michael Feng game.
The Michael Feng Erica game. Oh my God. It actually, I welled up a wee bit, and it's only because of like the emotions of everything that was happening. I just caught that like the last, and I saw her win, which just did it even more. Michael Feng comes in with a Terrasunder Anathos. They're both doing a Bravo mirror, so he Terrasunder Anathos into her. I can look at her hand and go, okay, she's got 3 pieces of equipment on 1 block and a Fate for Scene. She's got Terrasunder and 2 blues herself, and Michael Feng's on 1. Box 3, Fate for Scene, done. Her turn.
Game over.
She just performs the same move back. Michael Van just puts his cards down, fist bumps, and she was just like, hands on her face. I can see her just in tears. And I was just like, oh my God. Like, it was a David and Goliath moment. And Michael Feng is such an amazingly awesome person. He like just talks to you like he's just he's just a genuinely normal, lovely human being, right? But he is a Goliath in this game, so I kind of can't. I don't root for him because he's so good. You know what I mean? You always want to root for the underdog, and Erica knew she was the underdog. This was her winning into the Battle Hardened top 8, and she managed to defeat her peer. And a wonderful peer. So, do you know what I mean? It was just so heartfelt and amazing. And you can see she was just...
The emotion after that was
so glad. Yeah, and then I was speaking to Lila as well, and she was saying, like, we somehow hooked her up because of this, I can't actually...
Oh, yeah, that's right. The tournament that they played.
Yeah, and
online with multiple people from different countries are basically
And I think
promoting diversity within the game.
yeah, I
that
think
was it.
went down really well, and I think they've all been involved in that, which is really awesome.
So
I guess it's all like created a community out of that tournament
Mm,
as well, which is really exciting.
So Lila was telling me that, like I'm rooting for Erica, and then I was just like, oh
Mm.
my god, is she? Oh wow! So just all of that. It was just a real community captured moment, and I felt privileged that I would happen to be there to see something so cool. And everyone will get them in their own tournaments, no matter where you are. There's stories within events, and that one to me was such a really potent story that
It's
that
funny,
spoke
isn't
to
it?
me.
Because as you say, I think when we did our deep dive with Katsu with Lila, she then got asked to be in this. I think it was the Rainbow League or uh, whatever the event was called. It was really, really popular, and it that's obviously created friendships that across borders of countries that wouldn't have appeared otherwise. And
Exactly.
it's another part of this game that just blows my mind when you can rock up to an event in Liverpool and meet players from the Netherlands, Canada, the US, Australia, and you feel like you know them because you've played them online, you've been talking to them for years, and it might be the first time you've ever met them. Like Greece, like Yorgos. I mean, how many times have we bumped into
Oh,
Yorgos at different
Yorgos.
events?
Mm.
Yeah, and just came about because I watched him on stream win the Greek nationals back in
Yeah, yeah.
2021, and I just
And
loved
then
his
asked him for
play.
deck tech. Yeah.
And I just reached out to him, and now I feel like he's just a good friend overall. Do you know what I mean? It's same with Damu Correas and Pablo Pinto from the Sunflower Samurai. You see him in that event, and you're just like, oh my! And then I tell you what, can I just add one sneaky last one? Me playing into Daniel Correas in our little Rabble event, he kicked my butt, and then Yorgos comes and sits down with us, and I'm sitting there going, oh my god, I'm actually. Hey Daniel Correas, hi Yorgos. You guys are like my deck tech partners when new sets come out, and all three of us were just sitting there talking flesh and blood. Yeah,
It doesn't get much better, does
that
it?
was like, this is, and I just said to him, this is the coolest thing ever. That three different dudes in three different countries are just sitting together and being good friends and talking about something we passionately love. That is the calling. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I think as well, it's like the European community for Flesh and Blood feels very, very tight. Like I think we were seeing on the when we were streaming, I think people are really excited and happy to see like European casters at European tournaments featuring European players because they often might not get featured, say, on the American casting,
Well,
which
the
is on
US is
which is the
itself a
same.
very tight-knit community as well.
No,
So,
but because it's exactly the same. Like we want to feature like European players, and in the Americas they want to feature American and North American players as well. So it's good that when we get these opportunities to do European callings and tournaments that we have, European casters and European players that we know these people. I find it really exciting when you start to recognize people from like Team Poland, obviously
Yeah.
Sunflower Samurais, and like we're starting to like understand. We'll always pick out and feature the UK players that we know and played against, but it's really also exciting when you understand like the wider thing. You just see this person, and you're like, oh, I've never heard of that name before, and then someone in the chat will be like, yeah, that's the calling winner from like so and so, and it's just like that's so cool. And it's like the more you get to do the casting and like feel really like happy that LSS have given us this opportunity multiple times now because the more times you do it, the better you get at it. And the real key thing is understanding the players. Like I feel like we've got a really strong understanding of like the top quality European players now, which gives us a really interesting insight into the game. And like we obviously have like personal relationships with some of them too, but like just understanding like that's so and so. They were in the top 8 of calling Birmingham, and now they've come back to calling Liverpool. Really, really cool. So yeah,
And
I guess we should
still,
just say like thanks for the opportunity, but I also feel like we did a really good job. So I almost want to be like, yeah,
have us
we
back,
we
please.
I feel like we're earning it. And then I know we're gonna move on, but what Hamish just said also reminded me of like I also got a piece of feedback from someone just really randomly, while I was trying to get them a token, and they just said that they could tell that we cared. Like that was the feedback that they gave me, they gave us. They were just like, you can tell that you guys really care about this, and I think that comes across because we don't take these opportunities for granted,
That's like
and
the
we want
biggest
to do
compliment you can get, isn't
as
it?
good a job as we can, and we don't want to. We recognize that so many people want to cast, and we recognize that so many people want to be involved in this way in the game. So we do care a lot about doing a good job, and I was just really happy that that came across to other people as well, because we don't want people to think that we're not, that we take this for granted, because it's a huge honor to be able to be involved in the game in that way.
And little do they know, behind the curtain, I'm trying to do push-up claps in front of Nico.
Yeah, we really should have. We really should have. I also want to, like, I think all three of us would say this. Just like, I really doubt Nico is listening, but like, Nico is one of the coolest dudes. I feel like, because I know he's not listening, I could just say he's just one of the coolest dudes ever. He just exudes so much coolness. I think it's because he's carrying around a camera all the time.
I can tell you would love him. He's because he doesn't say much. He's
my kind of guy.
He's dimple piercing.
Oh, what you do? He's just like, we'll do this.
He's chill, just like this. Oh, teach me, senpai. Teach me.
Yeah, genuinely, I was like, this is. We would get up. There's no like. You both just... do you want to do this? Oh, do you want to do? Oh, no, if you don't want me to do it. Oh, if you don't want me to do it, it's just like, no, just do it. It's just like bam.
Yeah, he's straight.
I don't know who I could be talking about.
Yeah, I love it. He'll be sitting there just going, "Are you cool?" And he just goes, looks at you, and just goes, shrug. And that Trip's like, "Oh my god, the shrug! I could do that."
This is what I aspire to be like.
The shrugger. So. And then when I tell you what, actually, when the cosplay kicked in, he kicked into a serious life. He was like, boom, okay. And then I was like, whoa.
He was on it.
Yeah, you can tell that he's like, good. I really, really, Nico's such a wonderful, and Trevor as well. Trevor was super busy, so I didn't manage to get a good chance to chat with him. But Nico, because he has those times to sit down, it was just an absolute lovely gentleman. And I just had to show off I can do a push-up clap because Simon did, and then I can see the look on his face like, you're not built, like you're not built to do this. Gravity is not. It, though. I did. Gravity is not on my side. So, but I did it, and I don't know, man. If you're listening, I think that push-up clap earned us another spot to do some casting, if nothing else.
God, if it's that easy, geez.
I'm telling you now, I can guarantee a lot of people in the room couldn't do that.
But I think like we're really keen to do more. We really love representing the UK events. We'd love to do a non-UK event, obviously, but I also feel like we talked about this, like it's great to get as many people involved as you can, but like we're there keen to do more, but we also want to like bring people up and not just be like open the door.
I tell you what we need,
close the door behind you kind of things.
So. I tell you what we need. We just need more events, because if we get more events, then there's
more to go around.
Yeah, it's more to go around. When it feels like there's only 2 for this half of the year, and then it gets a little bit like, okay, it does feel a bit tight, doesn't it?
18 callings this year.
There's so many events. It's all about LSS, and like I hope they recognize that the amount of prestige having a streamed and casted event lends to their product, to their brands. It's huge. Like, so many comments in the chat as we are casting, just from people saying, this is really professional. This is great. This is perfect for the game. Because if I was a new player, the first thing I would do is watch something like that, is to watch a tournament, see what the kind of professional scene is. And if that's just not available to people, it's going to be really hard for people to even break into the game. And it just makes it like a sport. It makes it like big when you have that level of effort behind it. So
so let's talk a little bit about we'll just sort of summarize the actual calling, which was sealed and draft. So, Simon, what was your thoughts on heavy hitters, sealed and draft?
I was extremely pleasantly surprised at how good this sealed and draft format is. And I think it is, in my mind, it's without question the best limited set that LSS have produced so far.
Yeah.
Like it was varied. There were different archetypes of the same heroes that we were seeing, different ways of playing each hero, different ways of playing each class. There were just so many options, and it was so good to see. Each game was pretty close. I think Trip and I said many times, like each game looks like it could go one way very quickly, but there was always a way back in, and it was great. Like personally, it was great to cast, and I hope it was good for the viewers at home because those games were tight.
Mm. What about you, Trip?
Yeah, it is the best.
Yeah.
It is the best.
Well, it is the best one they've done.
I'm willing to take that without, I have zero doubt in my mind that it is just I don't want to cast any shade, but it's the best by a long way.
Definitely
Even
for sealed, like draft.
yeah,
There are
I think
other
even
contenders,
but okay, I guess like I haven't engaged in draft enough to make that kind of statement, but I still think it's very likely to be. It's definitely the best sealed 6-pack or whatever 4-pack, 6 or 4-pack sealed experience. It's the best by a long shot.
Yeah,
By a
it's not even
long,
close.
long shot. Like we saw it, we were looking at the numbers, which say, oh, everyone's playing KO. It's another kind of uprising thing where everyone's going to play fire. And it's like, but no, it wasn't like that at all. It was all mixed up on day 2, seeing all sorts of things get through. We did miss out on Victor, unfortunately. We got a Rhino through, but we had a class, we had a hero from every class, right? We had Betsy up there, we had KO up there, and we had a good mix of Kasai and Olympia, and that just, it's perfect. It's exactly what the game needs, because sealed, 6-pack sealed is the ideal format for a new player, because you can just go to your store with nothing and you can play Flesh and Blood. And we kept saying it throughout the tournament. It presents itself, it's literally called Heavy Hitters. It presents itself as this big, I'm gonna hit you really hard, you're gonna hit me really hard. It's really, numbskull combat, and it's not like that at all. It's super intricate and interesting with all of the stuff going on with the token generations. And like, I do think this is one of the best design sets that they've produced, and I'm really, really happy. It's definitely, I think it's fair to say, I think all 3 of us were a little bit kind of worried. The last 2 sets, Bright Lights and Dusk Till Dawn, never really clicked for me, and I think you guys probably feel a similar way. And this set has brought me right back in. It's making me look up all the dates of the RTNs. It's making me look at my local armories again. When's the next draft? When am I going to be able to get down to one of those? And it's really sort of reignited my interest in Flesh and Blood, and at exactly the right time, I would say. So
yeah, no, I agree. I think in terms of the limited side of things, this was good swing back and forth. I think the clashing and the wagering side of things is actually what is made the whole thing brought to life. I think if you looked at its core engine of just physical attacks, all 3 of the classes were the right mix to make sure that can happen in a fairly balanced way, so that weapons can be used. It's not, you haven't really got this weird jank class, like I've said before, like trying to weave a wizard or a ranger, or like heroes that just don't have weapons and you have to jump through a little bit more hoops in order to achieve what they need to achieve. There's a deeper level of complexity to that hero to achieve that. And then you get the one hero that isn't, and it's just, that's straight weapon, straight damage. It just works. It's totally fine. Everyone is straight weapon, straight damage. And so that's your core. That worked. But here's the spice. A little bit of mix of variance with the clashing. And you throw in a brute in there with random discards, which could massively make it work or completely just curb their whole thing off. And just wagering, so everyone has an ability to have an on hit or actually receive something if they manage to do effective good blockings. There's just so many different levels and it's just on a simple scale of doing that with 6 packs. That was what I think what made this limited set stand out, because overall when I was casting, it is a lot of it pumps, and this attack pumps and it comes to 5, and I'm like, so what? That's not that interesting, right? That we've got a sword coming in for 5. I'm like, yeah, but every set can do something like that. You know what I mean? Just pump an attack and go. it's just the mix of wagering and clashes that really set it off. And Pablo demonstrating what gold that he was accumulating over those 2 turns, that came from his own wagers and winning the opponent's wager, to this then later on go pitch blue, draw a card, pitch another blue, draw another card, come in for a 7 strength attack. It's just like, oh, okay. Do you know what I mean? It was just this weird long game thing that came from just those mechanics of wagering that sold it to me.
Absolutely. That was a definite highlighted gameplay moment.
Yeah, and
I think all of us were there to witness it.
And some of the players was telling me as well that actually, you know, it just makes them cast their minds back a little bit as well on the shade that was being thrown at a set like Bright Lights. That he said that it was actually one of the top 8 players, and I don't know whether it was I spoke to Yesen or not. But I think he could have been from Spain. Actually, I think it was Yesen. And he was saying that he just loved that. He actually really liked Bright Lights, and he found this set to be like really good, but also like quite simple. And I think a lot of us needed to get a bit of a palate cleanser of the complexities of the limited sets, because when you look at them, they said they're not terrible. They're just kind of complex, and in sealed and draft. He said the draft side of things is where it's strong. The sealed side, he's not. You know, this has been the strongest. Sealed side of things, but I think it just makes you sort of look back a little bit and go, okay, the complexities of it all is probably what made us all be a bit like, do you know what I mean?
Was that your gameplay highlight of the weekend, Hamish? The Pablo.
Sorry, can I jump in on that, because I just wanted to jump in on what Hamish just said.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think that complex. Like, I really don't. Like, I don't think that. Yeah, no, I don't think so at all. I actually think they're kind of boring. Like, I found that they're
trying to weave items, and I think everyone.
Yeah, like I don't know. I didn't. That's not really the take I had from that set.
It's not my.
No, I'm not shouting you down. I just wanted to jump in on that.
Stop shouting me down.
I was just
difference of opinion.
I just don't. I didn't really have that kind of feeling about Bright Lights. So maybe I'm just not playing at the same level as some of these guys, but I just found Bright Lights to be really boring. And I think one of the reasons for that is just because of the aggro decks that we've just been having in all of these sealed sets. There is no worse experience in my mind than the Max Mirror or the Phi Mirror. And it's like, did you draw your good red cards first? Are you going second?
Yeah.
Well done. Your win rate just went up by 20%, and it's just so dull. And I didn't get that impression at all during heavy hitters that, like, oh, it matters who went first or second. There's clearly going to be some kind of percentage point in it, but it didn't really come across. I don't know if you guys even really noticed who was going first or second, which was great.
Actually a lot of people wanted to go first.
No, you're right.
I think wanted to set up.
I think you're 100% right there, Trip. Actually, I think you've nailed that. Probably mostly on the head there, that we actually managed to see a set where the quote aggro isn't just this like at minimum 3-string attack of threes, fours, threes. This has just been like, you've got to do some work to get those 3-swing attacks, and KO is probably the only one that can maybe do it. And if they do, you do think, crap, that was a not luck, but that was crafted, and that took tons.
Well, we saw it in
the
final,
there.
didn't we? We saw 3 turns in a row of 3 hits, and we hadn't seen that all day.
No, and it just feels like that was incredibly powerful. And then if there was, like you said, if that was Phi or Max or any other, you're like, wow, that is complete. That is incredibly every turn.
Average.
Yeah.
To say, and they couldn't even resist it in outsiders because they just threw Katsu in for no bloody good reason.
Yeah, I know.
And suddenly there's another boring Katsu versus Katsu. Do you get your on hit in first and then you get the combo off and you just win the game? And it's so refreshing. And I put my hand up as the token aggro player in this room. Like, I love playing aggro in Classic Constructive, but God, is it boring, because it's such a crutch to fall back on, right? You're just like, oh, I got a terrible... I couldn't draft it properly. I'll just go aggro, and I'll probably get a win because I'll just go second and do something stupid. So, really like the design. We can move on. I did just want to flag.
Yeah, I want to
the equipment though. The equipment
Oh,
is
good.
so cool. And that's what makes Flesh and Blood to me is I love the equipment. But we'll move on.
We'll move on. We'll move on. Let's talk Battle Hardened. Let's talk CC. Let's talk something that I can really feel comfortable and feel like I'm back at home with in Flesh and Blood.
Well, you say that, Hamish, but
oh no, that's
top
me.
tables were not what we expected to see.
No, I meant CC. CC, like limited all weekend long, was like really good, and I felt like I was doing a leg workout, and I mostly do arm workouts, and that's basically CC. Doing limited was like, I'm enjoying this, but man, my brain is tired because I got to work extra hard to work things out. And then when I just look at CC and my brain just goes, I know exactly what's going on. Ooh, okay, here we go. So, CC, the top 8, we all know what the winner was because the internet went absolutely goo goo gaga wild over Prism getting her first Living Legend points, won by Rob Catton. Yeah. And the final also being played up by Bolton. And it seemed like a nice big varied split of heroes. KO being quite the popular hero overall.
Most popular hero, but not converting at all.
What because we're sitting there casting the whole time, it's hard to know what happened. But I mean, Kano's sneaking
I heard.
in.
I was getting semi-regular updates, and I heard KO's performed relatively well for the first 4 or 5 rounds.
Yeah.
But I feel that Brute did Brute things and didn't close it out. And with a battle hardened of 180 people or 200 people, you're only going to be able to lose one game to get into top 8.
Yeah, and they've all just lost that second game. And I imagine there's maybe there was some chaos sitting in 9, from the top 16.
There may be. I didn't see the breakdown.
No, I couldn't see the breakdown either. But yeah, Trip, what's your thoughts?
I think it's really cool. I love how diverse the meta was. I do also think we have a kind of there was a couple of players. There were some players playing in the Battle Hardened who were definitely playing their signature decks. I want to give a huge shout out to Finley, whose name I got wrong on stream. I called him Callum. I think Callum is another one of the Canterbury lads. The Canterbury crew, I should probably call them.
Yeah.
Seabass. So really great to see Finley doing well on Bolton again after they took Bolton to calling Birmingham and also did amazingly at that too. So I don't know if that's just, just got someone that just plays Bolton night and day and just takes it to tournaments and just wins because they know the deck like the back of their hands. So I don't think we had any Victor in the top 8. I think Victor is kind of cool. I think Victor's kind of interesting. So I'm expecting
there were Victors at the top tables early to mid rounds.
Yeah, I'm expecting to see a Victor breakthrough at some point. I'm really interested. So we know we've had a little bit of insight that Rob Catton's Prism does really well into Katsu.
No surprise, really, though.
Well, not necessarily. If you played Prism back in the old days, you had a really good matchup.
Prism was a big race.
Yeah, but big fun, but Herald's hitting and going into Soul.
Yeah, that's pretty problematic.
No, but this time Herald's hitting going to Soul.
It
gain 4 health is like on hits are. Taking damage is one thing. That was basically Herald of Air Edition was the only thing that was like, well, all the other Heralds can do whatever. That one can't hit. But now every Herald.
But I definitely think there's a game plan into that Prism as Katsu, which I think is going to be a really interesting
I love the optimism.
thing. Well, because this is the thing. If you can block those Heralds out, and then suddenly you're not able to get those Figments out of your deck, and then you set up something pretty big.
You are
have
bold.
A pretty interesting turn.
Trip, you are bold. Do you put no 2 blocks in your deck or something?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's the fun part. It's like, okay, we actually have to, and it's the classic Prism thing, right? This is exactly what happened when Prism was really good in the meta before, is that people have to change their decks. They have to actually do things that they might not want to do. They might have to actually put things in that they don't want to run, and the 6 power cards can't bang in. But I love the idea of playing into a hero that cannot block. And Katsu's got some interesting things in the back. So,
honestly,
that people don't run. So
honestly, after talking to Rob Catton through that deck, I think Prism is now in that stage of the game that she's gonna be kind of like sitting in the world of Dromai, where you kind of because she's an illusionist now. When he was talking through his
she's
deck,
always been an illusionist.
no, illusionists do this. Are they ever sitting at the very top and bit? Well, Prism was. Oh,
Yes.
no, Prism really wasn't. Prism was just sitting there going, you're very good, Starvo, so I'm very good. And then Oldham was very good, so I'm very good. But if she's never been the one that's went, I am the best hero ever, deal with me. She just counters whatever someone else is doing. And I think
Really
when LSS
it's a really
said-
interesting take.
when LSS have previously said that Advent of Thrones Prism was requiring some figuring out, like, do you think this is what they envisaged, or do you think this...
No, they just printed a broken weapon, and suddenly it's like, we figured it out.
Well, no, yeah, that
slightly
worked
less
it out,
broken,
so...
slightly less broken than the original.
And I don't mean it, and I'm not saying it's broken. I'm just hyperbole. But like, turns out if you print a really good weapon, it does fix a few problems.
So and I don't think that they. I think that they purposely. I think they. There's two different stories. The narrative of, I think people need to figure this out because this works really well and this can work. And then I think the second narrative being, I think we were being too safe. It's like, well, I mean, realistically, I think that's the truth. You knew this weapon wasn't that great, and you were playing this too safe. But everything else clearly was the vision of what you wanted this to be, and it's fine. And I think this weapon showing up, and it actually brings her into the fold of, you're really strong, and it does some really good, interesting stuff. And then people can look at this and go, but we can beat you in X, Y, and Z. Like Rob was saying, like, I do not want to see aggro dash. This is awful. If I see a Reiner or just Brute in general, this causes me some real problems. But the complexity of that hero was just astonishing when he was going through the stuff. And I even had to just put, if you've seen it, I've said it as a disclaimer. By the way, if you're going to keep throwing out questions of what about this specific card, I'm like, it is so contextual to the game that you are in right now. Well, their health totals are, there is about 1,000. Well, not 1,000. There are just so many options that you can pick to make it work for you to get over the line. That is what people are going to win and lose on Prism in events.
Yeah, just knowing your deck, isn't it? And
it's not even knowing the deck; it's knowing the right thing in that moment. There's so many
we've
plays.
talked a lot about Prism here now, and we've released a deck tech. By the time this podcast comes out, there would have been 2 days of having a deck tech out there. Let's just quickly mention the other heroes in the top 8, because Bravo made the top 8 twice.
No surprise.
And Dash made the top 8 twice.
No surprise. Those two heroes are just mainstays, in my opinion. And that's probably when you were saying, I'd love to see Victor break out. I think Victor's breakout will come when Bravo's kind of gone. Because I was talking to Yorgos and you were saying, not being funny, but Crippling Crush.
Bravo does things better.
No, it's just Crippling Crush. The card is very strong. And if you're both if you're getting 2 decks trying to do the same job, maybe Victor can do a blocking game that has a lot more value for the block, better than Bravo. But Crippling Crush is just too good.
Good value.
You could just try and make a same game plan, and if you just go, look, I just went dominate Crippling Crush, like, Victor can't do that. And no matter what sort of Bravo deck you make, you can just go.
Doesn't happen. Yeah.
Well, no matter what sort of deck I decided to make, with one with the Tunic, one with the Tectonic playing, it doesn't matter. I could go, oh, cool, dominate Crippling Crush. It's just strong. It's just, this move is too strong. That's why I think Bravo is going to be the mainstay Guardian. And just eke and climb up. I honestly do think he's going to eke and climb up to Living Legend status after the...
Okay.
Not win, but he'll be getting to that point. Same with Dash. Same with Dash.
I think as well is that the aggressive. I think you got to be careful as well with. I think Rob's Prism is is really, really good, and there's a lot of work going into it, and it's really strong, and we've seen it take down a battle hardened, but it's always good to take a hero into a meta when people aren't prepared for it. I don't necessarily think that people were. It looks like most people were preparing for KO, were preparing for Bravo, and Rob is an incredibly good player. Also, an incredibly talented multi-hero player. I just find it funny how Rob is like now the Prism player when he spent so much time as the chain player taking down the Prisms
And the Fi player.
before, and then the Fi player, and like
but he also picked up Icelander.
And he played a bit of Prism, and he's played a bit of everything. And he plays Kano and Blitz, and does all. And he plays what he thinks is the best deck, which is great. But that he's really probably, I'd say, quite underrated. He's a bit of a side event king. I've heard people refer to Rob as he often ends up absolutely blasting the battle hardened or the day 2 event. I think we will see him take down or at least get like really high at a bigger tournament soon because he's just a talented guy.
He's just he's just the same as Francesco. You know, when you just see someone that goes, why is not enough people are talking about how many top 8s he goes every event he goes to. And he wins the battle hard, and Francesco wins the calling. And you kind of look at this. We as UK players look at them and go, "Oh, are you surprised that they won it?"
And Rob plays top 8 at Worlds, the first Worlds, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, he was. It was top 8,
and he's still not really talked about in the same kind of classic. We mentioned this earlier. It's the European player thing. It is hardest to get recognition. But that's kind of like what we're trying to do is we're trying to draw attention to these really talented European players. A little bit of a bias towards the UK ones because we know them quite well, but we're trying to get the names out there. So it's pretty cool.
Right. But yeah, what about just CC in general, Trip, and the heroes, like seeing Bravo, seeing Dash in there. We've also
Kano.
Yeah, we should talk about Kano because there was actually quite a lot of Kanos, and I don't think any of them break into the top 8.
One.
One of them did in the end, and there was quite a few of them out there. We got a lot of dedicated Icelander players who have now made the switch and have had the time now to get that hero. A lot of people that started with Icelander. I think I saw Sammy Braben on Kano,
of course.
Previously winner of Calling Birmingham on Icelander, I believe. Is that correct? Gosh, it's hard to keep up. And now on Kano, so scary stuff. Because I think people are a bit more prepared for it now than they were, especially with so many of these like meta heroes have got out of the hero, got Living Legend, and it's always just like, is it Kano time? And I think it's kind of always Kano time if you can work around it. I don't think they want to be seeing Prism though, so we'll see how that ends up.
I think you're right.
I think,
and it depends how much people
it's made a big.
How much people are respecting Kano with their arcane barrier as well.
Yeah. Well, I think if you don't, guys, if you just put your arcane barrier in your damn decks, but
that's not even enough. I don't think
it's not. But it's not 2021 anymore. Just do it, okay?
A couple of Oasis respites.
No, I don't. Trip. I think I disagree. There's two things I think are happening here. I think a lot of people that are playing Icelander are going, "Oh, okay, I love Icelander as a Wizard player. I'll move over to Kano because I'm a Wizard player." I think they're going to get the shock of their life, which I'm sure they're now starting to realize that those two decks are like not even the same.
Well, that's what I was saying though, Hamish, is that happened like a year ago now, right? Like they've had the time
6 months ago. They've put the time in now.
No, but they're just
bad years. But like I think they've adapted because the arcane crack is just too seductive. You're getting it. You're starting to get a little bit of that like it's cheeky business. This arcane. You played Icelander for a little bit, if I recall correctly.
I did, but it's not. It's not the same deck. No, it's not the same deck at all.
No, we know it's not the same deck, but
it's not even the same.
It's not even the same deck.
It's not even the same.
Time to.
It's not the same archetype.
Kano is a reps deck.
Honestly,
you're telling me that you look at all those Kano players and they didn't previously play Icelander about 6 months ago? Because I saw 2 of them that definitely did.
Yeah, no.
So if you can find the other ones that didn't, I'll happily take it back.
I think people gravitate, and I can't remember. It could have been Arsenal Pass. I think people gravitate to archetypes, not heroes, not the class, archetypes of how people play the game. And I notice as well, when I'm playing Viscerai, there's a style of how I'm playing Viscerai that's just weaving stuff together and it's quite aggressive. And then when I'm like, why am I playing Bolton? I'm like, well, yeah. And then I'm realizing actually I'm weaving stuff together to I've got to pitch this. I've got to get the Arsenal right. And I'm actually seeing these two heroes and their archetype of how they're playing. I know they're doing different things, but I'm kind of aggressive and I'm trying to lace together some attacks to work out really well. And I've also seen that, like, these mid-range hero players that love to play Bravo, am I shocked that they're playing Assassin? No, not really. It's just slow, methodical, archetype playstyles. And Icelander and Kano are not the same thing at all. And I think a lot of people are getting caught out and trying to be a combo player, and they're not a combo player.
Do you know what these UK players do? Is that they play the class they have the cards for. Yeah. And you know what you have if you played Icelanders? You have Storm Striders and you have the Wizard cards.
That's the only card you need is a Storm Strider. Anyway.
Yeah, and it costs 120 quid.
We're going to shut this down because
we're not even going to talk about
exhausted and we're just...
We're not going to... I'm not exhausted. Me and Hamish are raring to go. Simon's trying to shut this down here.
Yeah, it's not my fault. It's not my fault you had 2 hours sleep.
It's almost like we actually had a good night's sleep last night, Hamish, wasn't it? And we feel like having a nice long chat about archetypes and classes.
No, you're going around in circles.
I think we could go on for another 10, 20 minutes. Well, welcome to Push the Point, mate. That's what we do here. Yeah. If you like it, hit subscribe, and we'll have more next 2 weeks' time. We'll argue about something else, which is nice.
To be honest, let's save this, right? Let's actually save this. We've got ourselves like a good, like, interesting base. It actually hasn't came up with a definitive winner from Battle Hardened on. It's actually just created more questions for Road to Nationals with Prism doing the thing.
Isn't it?
Like normally you'd go, KO, and then how many? If we saw like 4 KOs in the top 8, well, we know what the RTN is going to look like. And this time it's just
point in the meta.
Yeah, we just turned around and went, look at all these KOs that want to come in and play because of Yuki Lee Bender. Who won? Prism. Shit. What do I do for my Road to Nationals? Who? God knows, mate. It's all in the air. It.
Rob's literally throwing a prism-shaped grenade into the room and just being like, deal with this, guys. RTNs in 1 week's time.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, that's what, I think when we do the podcast the next episode, we will do a what's hot, what's not.
We'll bring it back.
We'll bring a what's hot, what's not. 2 weeks into Road to Nationals. Here we go.
Oh, it's going to be sad.
All right.
I don't think any of my heroes are hot. So
no.
Right. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Join the Patreon. Say hello.
Just subscribe. We're getting really close to 2,100 subscribers. So hit that subscribe if you want to see more. Lots of good videos coming soon. We've had a few chats about what we want to produce. So keep an eye out for it. But hope you have a fantastic RTN this weekend if you're going to one. And good luck with it. And we'll see you next time.
Peace and love.
Love you. Bye.